Hi, my name is Kylie, and I chose to talk about how defamation affects interpersonal communication in today's society. Um, Defamation is a false statement that can harm or ruin someone's reputation, whether it is written or spoken. It can be typed, can be spoken face to face, through a video, etc. My thesis is defamation is huge because of how big social media is, and how, especially within the last 4 years, how big politics have gotten, and like how politics have caused one another to just clash with each other. Um, Defamation is used when defamation is used, it is considered a civil wrong and can lead to criminal offenses. I did not realize that defamation could lead to criminal offenses before this class and before we learned about it. I didn't realize like how big it was, and like defamation actually had a definition to it. I just thought that it was people being, if I'm going to be honest, people just being mean and not respectful. Until I dug deeper and did more research about defamation, and I slowly realized and have came to like kind of my own conclusions that defamation is a big problem, especially with how big social media has gotten over the years. So the problem is that social media seems to be one of the biggest problems with this defamation, because of how bad people will compete with each other to say they are the best, or I'm the best at this and nobody can beat me, or certain things like that. So I feel like that is one of the biggest problems that we have when it comes to defamation and social media, because I feel like they just clash together. My example that I am using is people on TikTok. They are always dressing the best, seeing who has the best organization in their house, who has the most of a certain item, whether they collect certain stuff or they go to TJ Maxx or Marshalls or wherever and say, oh, well, I found this, so I have it because I had it first, and like just kind of being petty in a way. And then if you see somebody else kind of doing the same thing as them, they like turn around and be like, oh, well, I did it first and because I'm better. Or say somebody, like I've been seeing it a lot on my TikTok. And this is why I've been using it as example, is because the Western dressing, like how you dressed Western, has been coming back, and people are like coming at each other saying that, oh, you're not real country because you dress this way, or that's not real Western wear, nobody knows how it is. And there are actually two girls that I like have came across on TikTok who are actually like feuding, and this one girl defamated another girl, saying that she was a racist and all this and that because she was trying to ruin her reputation or make her look bad so people would stop following her on TikTok and follow this girl more. And I guess before I researched about this, I didn't realize that that was defamation, and I just assumed it was two girls being petty and just trying to, like, fighting like cats and just trying to see who wins and comes out to be the best. Even though there's no best, you dress how you dress, and I feel like personally there's, like, you dress how you dress, and there's no reason to try to be going at each other's throats and trying to ruin somebody else's life, especially with saying they're racist in today's world, because I feel like that is taken to more offense than anything else. And after I started researching about my speech and everything, I actually looked into their problem a little bit more, and I realized that the one girl is actually trying to press charges against the other girl for trying to make her look bad, because a bunch of people started to threaten her and say that she was racist and that she didn't deserve to live anymore. And so she was getting all these like hate comments and like people threatening her life and stuff like that. And I feel like that is wrong, and it shouldn't even be a thing. And another thing is that, again, I personally have witnessed it because I work in the medical field. And again, I didn't realize how bad it was until I researched more into this and looked into depth. And my example for personally witnessing it, is that we had a patient who didn't like a certain nurse because she didn't give him this pill by 9 a.m. He liked his pills by 9 a.m. And he didn't have, like, his pills weren't scheduled or anything, like, nothing like that. So, like, in our system, it doesn't show that he has to have them by 9 a.m. And she was, like, kind of new to this floor. She typically worked on another floor but picked up. So she didn't know that he liked his pills by 9 a.m. So when she gave them to him, it was a little after 9. I mean, it wasn't, like, crazy later. Um, she went into his room, gave him his pills and everything, and he kind of got into it with her, but he ended up, when she walked out, he ended up making a bunch of accusations to a nursing assistant, which we have to report, obviously, right away. And those accusations ended up being false. And, they ended up being false, which ended up with her being put on leave to be investigated. And our company ended up firing her because they didn't want those accusations to be, like, reported within them, or, like, they didn't want to look bad, basically. And after further investigation, once they got more into it, they ended up being false, and so she got fired and let go for nothing that didn't even happen. He was just saying a bunch of stuff that wasn't true because he didn't like that he got his pills late, so he was trying to ruin her reputation. Which, was that fair to her? No, because she was punished for something that didn't even happen. And I feel like that using those two examples will affect like, how people will, like, still, like, communicate with each other, because now maybe this one girl who was getting bullied for wearing stuff, now she's not going to want to wear what she was wearing, and she's going to be scared to talk to other people, because who knows if they seen those videos that this girl was making and if they're going to like her or not. So that's going to cause her to, like, kind of close up and not want to, like, go around other people or kind of be herself, which is completely not fair. And then again, with the nurse example, she may not, I don't know if she's a nurse still or not, but just for example, having her go through this could make her not want to be another nurse, because if they didn't, like, clear her or not, or, like, my organization didn't, like, speak upon it, so who's to say that other organizations wouldn't look at her and be like, oh, well, she was accused of this and nobody spoke on it, so who's to say if it's true or false? So I feel like, again, it's just, you need to be nice and kind of do it, like, not be mean and stuff like that. So unfortunately, there are not many solutions to defamation, because you can't stop somebody from saying or writing false statements, because that goes against the First Amendment of freedom of speech. And this is why this problem is hard to find solutions for, because it causes the First Amendment and the defamation law to clash. Because a person has a right to freedom of speech and expression, but then it causes the laws of defamation, which lead to litigation and negative public views, which is something that can be hard to come back from. So there's really no solution. Just if you ever come across being, like, subjected to slander, you just try not to react, because if you react, it could lead to them gaining more, like, feedback on it, and they could take your words and twist them again and make you look bad. The next thing is just to gather proof. You want to make sure you screenshot, save the video, or capture any type of statement before that person deletes it, because if you gather proof, it helps, and if it's serious enough, then you can get a lawyer and take it to court. And then you would have everything you would need to prove that this is what they said, they really did say this, and that if you have proof that you didn't react to it, then you can show that, hey, you behaved in a calm, personal manner, you didn't react to it, you didn't try to give any feedback to make it worse, and hopefully that would help your case. And then one website that I looked up, they said that you should always act no matter how big or small it can be, because if you decide to pursue it, then you could have everything, but if you don't, and they do it again at a later date, you would still have that proof, but if you don't react or anything to it, then how can anybody help you? So after my speech about this, I came to a summary about just basically don't be mean. Just to be a kind human and let people do what they want, and don't feel like you have to be on top to win or try to ruin somebody's reputation because you want to look better than one other person. We're all human. We're all equal. Yes, people do things differently, and yes, people may do things you may not like, but just look past it and move on. Just, there's no need to ruin somebody's reputation because it could be worse than what you intended it to be, but once the words are spoken, then it's out there. And especially with social media, once it's out there, it's out there. There's no really deleting it, because once it's on the interweb, it's out there. There's no deleting it forever. Somebody somewhere will always have it. My thing is just to always, again, to be a kind human, and to say, instead of trying to ruin somebody's reputation, tell them they're doing good, or to pick something nice to say about them. Be kind. It's, in today's world, people are not kind, so if you choose to be kind, you're making the world a better place, one person at a time. And just, if you just look at somebody and tell them something like simple, it could make their day, and then they may want to tell somebody else that they did something good, or they like their sweater or something like that. So it's just, I didn't realize how big of a problem defamation was until I did more research. And I think it's something that should be spoken on more, because, like I said, once words are spoken, you can't take them back. And it's hard to come back from stuff that has been said, and people tend to not forget things. So you can forgive, but you won't forget. That's the quote I always live by. So just be kind with what you say. And so that way you're not ruining somebody's life or reputation. It's not worth it. But that was my speech. Thank you.